Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Friday Night Live here on the Missouri Sports Network. My name is Guy Newcomb, and I apologize for the late start, but I am under the weather, and my voice is not real good right now, and there were some technical difficulties as well. But we'll get right into the scores. This may be an abbreviated version of the Scoreboard show, but we'll go into the high school football. Um, right now. Maysville over Gallatin, 27-20. That game in overtime. Louisiana defeats Veritas Christian, 46-3. It was East Atchison over Mound City, 44-12. Knox County defeats Princeton, 52-16. It was King City over Pattonsburg, 88-48. In eight-man action, North Andrew defeats South Holt, 54-6. Plattsburgh over Stewartsville, 58-6. It's Oric over Santa Fe, 30-20. Liberal defeats, they're up on Jaspers late in the fourth quarter, 52-22. Elsewhere, Blue Springs over Truman, 55-0. Ray Peck defeats Lee Summit West, 27-26. In the fourth quarter, Howell Central leads Hickman, 35-21. Lindbergh, they defeat Fox 35-0. It was Oakville over Northwest 28-7. Fort Osage in the fourth leads Lincoln 42-0. Webb City defeats Belton 42-6. It was Crane Valley over Ruskin 49-7. Neosho defeats Raytown 42-6. Late in the game, Hillcrest leads Parkview 19-18. It's Republic defeats Central 48-7. Glendale leads Willard 39-15. That in the fourth. Lebanon, they defeat Jeff City 49-7. Also in the fourth quarter, it is Capital City on top of Smith Cotton 40-29. Camdenton, they defeat Rolla 49-20. Elsewhere in the fourth, North Point leads Timberland 27-0. In the third quarter is Fort Zumwalt West on top of Battle 23-7. Rockwood Summit, they defeat Parkway South 13-3. Lafayette over Parkway Central 45-7. Washington defeats Parkway West 35-25. In the fourth quarter, Poplar Bluff leads Farmington 41-21. Cape Central, they defeat Webster Groves 42-7. Savannah over Southeast out of Kansas City 77-0. Smithville defeats Center 65-0. Van Horn in the fourth quarter, they trail Excelsior Springs 21-18. Nevada defeats Raytown South 42-12. Elsewhere, Warrensburg shuts out Marshall 43-0. And in the fourth quarter, Bolivar leads Monette 42-22. Carl Junction, they defeat McDonald County 18-13. Logan Rogersville over Marshfield 34-14. Hannibal defeats Holt 50-14. And in the first overtime, Mexico and Kirksville are tied at 14. Elsewhere, Osage defeats Fort Zumwalt South 50-16. It's Pacific over Bayless 56-6. That's a final. Sullivan defeats Afton 55-21. Union shuts out Roosevelt 34-0. In the fourth quarter, Hillsboro leads Sykeston 41-14. Final score, Perryville defeats Windsor 26-8. North County over DeSoto 31-21. And in the fourth quarter, it's Oak Grove over Clinton 89-2. Elsewhere, final score, St. Michael, the Archangel, they defeat Kansas City Central 42-0. In the fourth quarter, Summit Christian on top of University Academy Charter at Kaufman 14-6. North County defeats DeSoto 31-21. East Newton, they defeat Cassville 39-28. It's Forsyth over Hollister 46-20. Aurora defeats Reed Spring 51-14. Mountain Grove, they defeat Salem 42-8. Mount Vernon over Buffalo, and this is the final 62-7. Knob Noster in the fourth leads Eldon 27-19. Boonville over Versailles 54-14. Southern Boone over California 34-21. Moberly defeats Fulton 59-20. Hallsville in the fourth quarter, they lead Winfield 25-7. St. Clair, they defeat Principia 56-20. St. Genevieve over Herculaneum 43-20. Central out of Park Hills, they defeat Kennett 30-14. In the fourth quarter, Fredericktown leads Potosi 10-7. Chillicothe, they defeat Northeast 58-6. Maryville defeats Lafayette out of St. Joe 48-13. Cameron over Benton 48-12. East Buchanan defeats Trenton 40-18. Lawson defeats South Harrison 36-18. Clark County over Palmyra at 26-22. Monroe City defeats Highland 54-14. Macon shuts out Mark Twain 37-0. It's KIPP KC out of Kansas City. They defeat Hogan Prep 52-8. Butler defeats Sherwood 42-6. Stockton over Diamond 43-28. Sarcoxy defeats El Dorado Springs 52-7. Centralia over Carrollton 44-6. Jefferson defeats Priory 35-13. Bowling Green over Montgomery County 52-13. St. Pius X over Grandview 42-7. Liberty, wow, great game here with Springfield Catholic, but Liberty defeats Springfield Catholic 12-8. Houston over Ava, a little bit of surprise there, 40-32. Thayer over Clever 37-7. Fairgrove defeats Willow Springs 59-13. In the fourth quarter, Lincoln leads Skyline 56-34. Miller shuts out Kabul 61-0. Louisiana 46-3 over Veritas Christian. Colcamp defeats Russellville 30-22. In the fourth quarter, Crestridge leads Lynn 28-0. Final score, Marquette defeats Vianney 23-20. St. Pius X over Chrisman 69-14. Central St. Joe defeats Winnetonka 35-27. SLU shuts out Hazelwood Central 35-0. Chaminade shuts out McClure North 32-0. St. Mary's over Melville 38-7. And University City defeats Normandy 41-14. It was Lawson again. Just some scores here coming up in our window here. Bowling Green over Montgomery County 52-13. Clark County defeats Palmyra 26-22. Centralia over Carrollton 44-6. Lawson defeats South Harrison 36-18. Monroe City over Highland 54-14. East Buchanan defeats Trenton 40-18. Butler over Sherwood 42-6. Macon shuts out Mark Twain 37-0. Take a quick time out. We'll be back after this.
I'll have the avocado toast minus the avocado.
So, toast.
Yeah. Everything is so expensive these days.
Hey, Chevy gets it. That's why they're keeping prices down to earth, like on the most affordable EV in America. A super strong and capable Chevy truck. And a high-tech Chevy SUV. Why is Chevy making affordable vehicles connected by OnStar? It's so together, we can do more.
We believe banking should make your life greater. It starts with affordable options to meet today's needs and tomorrow's dreams. From smart account options that fit your style to flexible loans for what comes next. It means convenient ways to access and manage your money whenever you need it and wherever you're headed. Most of all, it takes great support. Someone you can count on for trusted guidance and to be there for you every step of the way. Great options, great convenience, great support for life. Great Southern Bank, understanding what really matters.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start?
Here, in the classroom.
On the stage.
In the pool.
On the field.
Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great.
Participate!
Hey, welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Friday Night Live here on the Missouri Sports Network. Certainly glad you've tuned in, and as always, presented by Lyona, Labor's Local 663, who remind us, hey, drive safely in those work zones. Those folks want to go home to their families as well. Also presented by the Bank of Billings. The Bank of Billings, established in 1889, the oldest bank in Christian County. Run through the scoreboard once again, and I do apologize, one, for being late. We could not get, we had technical difficulties, so to speak, and also because of my, forgive me for my voice, I've been dealing with some illness here. So anyway, we will run through here high school football scores in 8-man football. In District 1, Lockwood gets a bye, but they will host next week Liberal. Liberal defeats Jasper 60-38. And next week as well, it'll be 2 versus 3 as Greenfield will host New Heights. In 8-man football, District 2, Archie's the 1 seed, and they receive a bye. And they will host Osceola, who defeats Rich Hill 30-14. Also next week will be Appleton City hosting Drexel. In 8-man football, District 3, Concordia is the 1 seed. They receive a bye. Northwest is the 2 seed. They also receive a bye. Tonight, Sweet Springs, the 5 seed, defeats St. Paul Lutheran, the 4 seed, 46-23. And Slater shuts out Keatsville 86-0. So next week, Sweet Springs will travel to Concordia, and Slater will be at Northwest. In 8-man football, District 4, Bramer's the 1 seed, and Hardin Central is the 2 seed. They both receive byes. Tonight it was Santa Fe, the 5 seed, over Oric 30-20, and Wellington Napoleon defeats Southwest 82-6. So next week, Santa Fe will travel to Bramer, and Wellington Napoleon will be at Hardin Central. In 8-man football, District 5, Bishop LeBlanc, the 1 seed, St. Joe Christian, the 2 seed, they both receive byes tonight. Tonight was DeKalb, the 5 seed, over Northland Christian 52-20. So DeKalb will travel to Bishop LeBlanc, and Plattsburgh defeats Stewartsville 58-6, and they will be at St. Joe Christian next week. In 8-man football, District 6, Rockport is the 1 seed, and West Nottoway the 2 seed. Rockport and West Nottoway receive byes. Next week, Tarkio will travel to Rockport as they defeat Mound City 44-12, and North Andrew defeats South Holt 54-6. 8-man football, District 7, Albany is the 1 seed, Platte Valley the 2. They both receive byes. Albany will host King City next week as King City, the 4 seed, defeats Pattonsburg 88-48. And last night, Worth County, the 3 seed, defeated Stanberry 60-0. So Worth County will travel to Platte Valley next week, and King City will be at Albany. And in 8-man football, District 8, only 1 game tonight, and that's Knox County defeating Princeton 52-16, and they will travel to the 1 seed, North Shelby, while Schuyler County will travel to Paris, the 2 seed. In Class 1, presented by Bambino's Italian Cafe at Lone Pine and East Battlefield, home of the quarterback club, tip-off club, and the leadoff club. Monday is the final quarterback club, as we'll be presenting our awards to Springfield Area Quarterback Club Award winners. In Class 1, District 1, St. Vincent received the bye, and next week they will host Louisiana, who defeats Veritas Christian tonight 46-3. Also next week will be Hayti at Van Far, and Malden will be at Crystal City, And Charleston will host Chaffee. In Class 1, District 2, it was Crestridge over Lynn, 35-0. Crestridge will travel to number 1 seed Tipton next week, while the 4 seed Salisbury will be at Marceline. Also in District 2, Colcamp, the 10 seed, they defeat Russellville 30-22, and they will travel to Westran, the 2 seed, next week. Also next week, Harrisburg at Fayette at Harrisburg. And in District 3, top 2 seeds get a bye. That's a rare 10-team district, but the top 2 seeds get a bye. Marionville, the 1 seed, and they will host Miller next week as Miller defeats Kabul 61-0. Also next week will be Pierce City at Windsor. Adrian also gets a bye, and Skyline falls to Lincoln. I believe that is a final. I'm checking to see right now if I can find that final, but I had it. But I do apologize. I believe Skyline defeated Lincoln. Anyway, Midway will be at Ash Grove next week. And in Class 1, District 4, there's just 4 districts in Class 1. Penny, they defeat a bye. Sorry, they receive a bye. I guess they win because they get to go to next week. And next week, they will host Maysville, who in overtime defeats Gallatin 27-20. Also next week in District 4, Class 1 District 4, Polo will be at West Platte. North Platte will be at Milan. Scotland County will be at Putnam County, all next week. And in Class 1, brought to you by Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks, sponsoring our Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athletes of the Week. Class 2 District 1, Valley Catholic receives a bye. We don't have scores yet, but Kelly is at New Madrid County. Portageville is at Caruthersville tonight. Scott City is East Prairie. We will refresh and see if we can't. Excuse me. My apologies there. I'm a little under the weather, a lot under the weather, and I was coughing, so I wanted to mute my mic. But anyway, Class 2, District 1, Valley Catholic, as I said, they received the bye. Kelly defeats New Madrid County 36-12, so Kelly will be at Valley Catholic next week. Caruthersville, in the 2-7 matchup, they defeat Portageville 40-7. We're still waiting on a final score from Scott City and East Prairie. And in Class 2, District 2, Herman, they receive the bye, and they will play St. Pius X. At St. Pius X, they defeat Grandview 42-7. Bowling Green over Montgomery County 52-12. It was Jefferson over Priory 35-13. So Jefferson, they will travel to Bowling Green, and St. Pius will be at Herman next week in Class 2 District 2. Class 2 District 3, Lafayette County receives the bye, and they will host either South Callaway or North Callaway. No final score there. Lexington and Father Tolton, no final score there. We do have a final from that district, and that's Centralia over Carrollton, 44-6. And in Class 2 District 4, there's a rare 8-team district. Fairgrove, the 1 seed, they defeat Willow Springs 59-12. Thayer over Clever 37-7. Mountain View Liberty 12-8 over Springfield Catholic. And Houston defeats Avon, a bit of an upset, 40-32. In Class 2 District 5, Warsaw is the 1 seed, and they receive the bye. In the 4-5 matchup, Sarcoxy defeats El Dorado Springs 52-7. Sarcoxy will travel to Warsaw next week. The 2 seed Lamar, they defeat Pleasant Hope 62-0, and they will host Stockton next week as Stockton defeats Diamond 43-32. to 28. In Class 2, District 6, Pembroke Hill receives the bye, and they will host either Sherwood or Butler. The bottom of that bracket, KIPP KC Liberty, or Legacy, they defeat Hogan Prep 52-8, and we don't have a final yet from Lone Jack and Holden. Class 2, District 7, South Shelby, they receive the bye, and they will host Macon. Macon, the 5 seed, defeats Mark Twain 37-0. In the 2-7 matchup in that district, it was Monroe City over Highland 54-14. Clark County defeats Palmyra 26-22. Class 2, District 8, Brookfield, they receive the bye. They will host Lawson next week as Lawson defeats South Harrison 36-18. Mid Buchanan last night defeats Lathrop 58-0. And East Buchanan tonight over Trenton 40-18. In Class 3, in District 1, Dexter receives a bye. They will host either Potosi or Fredericktown. The bottom of that bracket, Park Hill Central defeats Kennett 30-14, and St. Genevieve defeats Herculaneum 43-20. St. Genevieve next week will travel to Park Hill Central, and the winner of the Potosi-Fredericktown game will travel to Dexter. In Class 3, District 2, Borgia is the 1 seed. They receive a bye. Other games in that district will be Lutheran South at Live for Live and Owensville at John Burroughs. Both those games will be played tomorrow. Tonight's action was St. Clair defeating Principia 56-20. And they will either travel to John Burroughs or host Owensville, depending on the outcome of that contest tomorrow. In Class 3, District 3, St. Charles West is the 1 seed. They receive the bye. They will host either Winfield or Hallsville. At the bottom of that bracket, Duchesne is at Wright City tonight. No final there. Moberly defeats Fulton 59-20 in that 3-6 matchup. And in Class 3, District 4, Blair Oaks is the 1 seed, and they do receive the bye. And they will host Southern Boone as Southern Boone defeats California 34-21. The bottom of that bracket, the 2 seed Booneville. The 2 seed Booneville, they defeat Versailles 54-14. Still waiting on a final from Knobnoster and Eldon. Welcome to the line now from Alan Hilliard Sports. It's Alan Hilliard. Alan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great there on the way back outside of Springfield finally.
So what was your game like tonight between Ozark and Waynesville?
Started off 7-3 in the first quarter. Then Ozark scored to make it 14-3. Or eventually became 14-3 and then 17-7. And Ozark basically. And then Ozark learned to pass the ball in a couple little bubble passes, and that turned into a 31-7 ball game in the end. But a good game between two teams that injury, obviously late in the year. Very different game from earlier this season.
Now Ozark, they get the prize, I guess, so to speak, of going to Nixon next week.
Yes, that is their prize.
Any other scores, from tonight maybe surprise you a little bit?
Really the big one was the Houston-Ava game.
Yeah, that kind of jumps out at me too. It's an Ava team that's been ranked in the state all year long. I believe they'd already beaten Houston earlier this year, and for them to go there or to host them and get defeated, that was a surprise. But you don't know the injuries or what else occurred in that contest.
Yep, this time of year, a lot of the teams have really injuries that sometimes, just bad timing for those injuries in certain games. But it's also the time of the year when you can clear your team's record and start off with a clean slate at 0-0. And, sometimes, you go in and you surprise some people.
Yeah, it's kind of that win or go home mentality right now. Is everybody's in the districts right now, and it's right now there's not really. I mean, if you're a sophomore at this point of the season, you're basically a junior because you've got your sophomore years kind of in your rearview mirror. So at this point, your lower classmen have kind of become upperclassmen because of experience with having that year, those 9 games under their belt. But if you're healthy, who knows? And plus, you go into a contest if you're a senior, and maybe a little bit extra pressure on you because you may realize, hey, this could be our last game or my last game as a high school athlete. And so you put a little bit more pressure on yourself, and maybe you don't respond as well.
Yep, an example of that for the Waynesville Tigers, they were missing, I believe, 16 starters since week number 1 out of their starting lineup. And Seth Hance and Baker, both freshmen, really came out and kind of helped to lead the Tigers because they're missing 3 of their senior running backs essentially right now that started the season.
So your duties now, right now, outside of anything that you do for Misha next week, are completed. What was your season like, just overall?
Well, overall, I mean, broadcasting wise, it was successful, and I appreciate everyone that supported me throughout the season. Also, especially you there, helping out with getting some stuff or sometimes providing content to share and just things like that. Everything helps with all, working together.
Well, we're just right at a month maybe out of high school basketball, as typically the first games will begin that week, that first week of December, going up to December 2nd. There'll be a few games that last week of November during the holidays. When would your season start as far as with regards to basketball?
I believe it starts on the 22nd with the Dixon boys and girls doubleheader against Silva or Plato. But then we have the Frisco League tournament, which is 2 9-team tournaments that run at the same time over 6 days, which is an amazing tournament to have there in Pulaski County, the Frisco League tournament.
Yeah, and that's one I always enjoy, looking at those scores because they will flat up get up and down the floor. I mean, there's a lot of 90 to 80 scores in that district tournament, or I'm sorry, in that conference tournament there. Where will that be held, or is that at 2 different locations?
That is at Lakeway High School in one gym the entire week. So it is 3 and 4 games a night for an entire week plus 2 Saturdays.
Wow. Well, and this is starting Monday. Right now, it's dead week for the winter sports. And then starting Monday will be, that's November 4th. So that begins the winter sports practice season. So we're just right around the corner, and we're narrowing in on the state championships in Misha high school football. But Alan, I greatly appreciate you being generous here with your time, and we'll probably check back with you. Except I am way under the weather, and I don't know if people can understand my voice right now. But I've been dealing with some health issues here just over the past few days, and then I couldn't get on the air, Alan. I needed you here because I could not go live. But
oh wow,
we're good, and the phone system seems to be working. As long as people can hear you, then they know our phone system is working.
Well, and then next week I may not be done yet. There might be some guest appearance coming up next week in St. Louis, so I will keep you in the loop in that one.
All right, Alan. All right. Well, you've got to be hopefully on your way home, and we wish you safe travels, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right. That was Alan Hilliard from Alan Hilliard Sports. You can follow his stuff on Alan Hilliard Sports on Facebook and YouTube as well. And I tell you what, he is running up and down. He's burning the roads up. But like I said, he was at the Ozark versus Waynesville game tonight, producing that for Misha. So we'll jump into, well, first off, we'll take a quick timeout, and then we will jump into the Class 4 scoreboard and district football after these messages presented by Lyona. Labor's Local 663. Back after these messages.
Located in the heart of Springfield on historic Walnut Street, just blocks away from the Missouri State campus, Hammons Field, Great Southern Arena, and downtown Springfield. The Walnut Street Inn features newly remodeled rooms, breakfast served daily, and a friendly, accommodating staff. The Walnut Street Inn is also a great venue for private events. Book your stay or get more information at walnutstreetinn.com or call 417-864-6346.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to, with a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank. We do banking better.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 290,000 participants here in Missouri who take part in high school sports or activities.
Hello and welcome back to not high school game day, to Friday Night Live here on the Missouri Sports Network. Hey, I invite you, go to our Facebook page and give us a like, and you'll know every time we go live. Been live twice today, I believe, already. Also, go to our YouTube page and subscribe. You'll be able to hear all of the shows. We do several live shows a week, whether it be the morning update or on deck with D-Row and Coach Archer. We've got Where They Now Wednesdays that comes out Wednesday mornings. We've got Huddle Up that comes out on Thursday mornings as well with Darren Archer, myself, and Johnny Mack. Getting back to the scoreboard, here's where we refresh this. And again, this is presented by Doak Propane. Doak Propane for all your propane needs in Polk County and surrounding counties. See the folks at Doak. And I know there's a little bit of static that I can hear just in the background, but so I apologize if that is something that you're hearing as well. But in Class 4, District 1, Festus is the 1 seed, and they receive the bye. In the 4-5 game, North County defeats DeSoto 31-21, so they will travel to Festus. Perryville over Windsor 26-8. Hillsboro defeats Sykeston 55-22. So Hillsboro next week will be at Perryville. In Class 4, District 2 is Gateway receiving the bye. Union defeats Roosevelt 34-0. So Union will travel to Gateway. In the 2-7 matchup, Sullivan defeats Afton 55-21, and they will host Pacific. Pacific defeats Bayless 56-6. And in Class 4, District 3, Lutheran North is the 1 seed, and they will host either Confluence Prep or Jennings. And Soldan will be at Miller Career Academy. I believe both of those games are on Saturday. At the bottom of that bracket, University City defeats Normandy 41-14. In Class 4, District 4, Parkway North is the 1 seed. and they will host next week Fort Zumwalt East, who defeats Clayton 60-14. And it was Orchard Farm over Lutheran St. Charles 48-26. Orchard Farm will host either St. Charles or Westminster Christian, and that game will be played tomorrow. In Class 4 District 5, it was Warrenton receiving the 1 seed, and they will host Osage, who defeated Fort Zumwalt South 50-16. At the bottom of that bracket, Mexico, the 7 seed, upsets the 2 seed Kirksville 21-14 in overtime, and they will travel to Hannibal, who defeats Holt 50-14. Class 4 District 6, West Plains is the 1 seed, and they will host Logan Rogersville next week. Logan Rogersville defeats Marshfield 34-14. At the bottom of that bracket, in the 2-7 matchup, Carl Junction defeats McDonald County 18-13. And it's gone final here at Bolivar, as Bolivar, the 3 seed, defeats Monette 48-24. So Bolivar will travel to Carl Junction next week, and Logan Rogersville will be at West Plains in District 6. Class 4 District 7, Pleasant Hill receives the bye, and they will host Harrisonville next week. Harrisonville 52-14 over Grandview. Also in that district, Warrensburg defeats Marshall 43-0, and Nevada defeats Raytown South 42-12. So next week, Harrisonville will travel to Pleasant Hill. Warrensburg will host Nevada. Class 4 District 8, Kearney is the 1 seed, and next week they will host Van Horn, who defeats Excelsior Springs 31-24. Smithville shuts out Center 65-0, and Savannah defeats Southeast 77-0. So Savannah next week will travel to Smithville, and Van Horn will be at Kearney. In Class 5, brought to you by Great Southern Bank. Great Southern Bank, with more than 100 locations in 6 states. Great Southern Bank, understanding what really matters. Member FDIC. Class 5, District 1, Cardinal Ritter's the 1 seed. They receive the bye. St. Mary's the 4 seed over Melville, 38-7. Cape Central defeats Webster Groves 42-7. We don't have a final yet from Poplar Bluff and Farmington. So as it stands right now, St. Mary's next week will be at Cardinal Ritter, and Cape Central will host either Poplar Bluff or Farmington. Class 5 District 2, Eureka is the 1 seed. They receive the bye. Washington defeats Parkway West 35-25. Lafayette over Parkway Central 45-7, and they await the winner and will host the winner of Parkway South and Rockwood Summit. And in Class 5 District 3, Hazelwood East receiving the bye. Ledoux will be at Riverview Gardens. That game is tomorrow. At the bottom of that bracket, MICDS shuts out McClure 49-0, and Chaminade defeats McClure North 32-0. So Chaminade will be at MICDS next week. Class 5 District 4, Fort Zumwalt North receives the bye, and they will host Fort Zumwalt West next week as they defeat Battle 40-19. The 2 seed Liberty over Francis Howell North 49-7, still awaiting a score between Timberland and North Point. And the winner of that game will travel to Liberty. Class 5 District 5, Helias is the 1 seed. They receive the bye. Camdenton defeats Rolla 49-20, and Lebanon over Jefferson City 49-7, still awaiting the final between Capital City and Smith Cotton. The winner of that contest, well, it depends on who wins. Camdenton, though, next week will travel to Jeff City Helias. In District 6, Branson is the 1 seed, and they will host Glendale, who defeated Willard earlier tonight. Republic is the 2 seed, and they defeat Central 60-7. And Republic will host Hillcrest, who outlasted Parkview 19-18. Class 5 District 7, Carthage is the 1 seed. They receive the bye. They will host Neosho next week as Neosho defeats Raytown 42-6. It was Green Valley over Ruskin 49-7, and Grain Valley will host Webb City, who defeats Belton 42-6. Class 5 District 8, Platte County is the 1 seed, and they will host either Winnetonka or St. Joe Central. St. Pius X, the 2 seed, defeats William Chrisman 69-14, and they will await the winner of the Lincoln Prep Fort Osage game. And in Class 6, District 1, Seckman is the 1 seed, and they will host Oakville, who defeats Northwest 28-7. Jackson is the 2 seed. They also receive a bye, and they will host Lindbergh, who defeated Fox 35-0 tonight. My apologies there. In Class 6, District 2, CBC is the 1 seed, and they will host Marquette next week, who defeated Vianney 23-20. Also next week will be the 2-3 matchup between Kirkwood, the 2 seed, and Francis Howell. In Class 6, District 3, DeSmet receives a bye. It was Pattonville over Hazelwood West, 56-18. So Pattonville will travel to DeSmet. The 2 seed is Rittenhour. They also receive a bye, and they will host St. Louis University High, who defeated Hazelwood Central 35-0. In Class 6, District 4, Troy Buchanan is the 1 seed, and they await the winner of Francis Howell Central and Hickman. Also next week will be St. Dominic taking on the 2 seed, the 3 seed, taking on the 2 seed Rockbridge. And in Class 6 District 5, it is Nixa with the bye. The only game in that district tonight is Ozark versus Waynesville. We heard from Alan Hilliard from Alan Hilliard Sports earlier in the show. Ozark defeats Waynesville 31-7. So the Ozark next week will travel to Nixa in a rematch of a game a few weeks ago. And next week as well, Kickapoo will travel to the 2 seed Joplin. Class 6 District 6, Lee Summit North is the 1 seed, and they will host Raymore Peculiar, who defeats Lee Summit West 27-26. Also next week will be the 2 seed Lee Summit hosting Rockhurst. And in Class 6 District 7, Blue Springs South is the 1 seed, and they will host Blue Springs next week as they shut out Truman 55-0. Also next week will be the 2 seed Liberty hosting defending Class 6 state champion Liberty North. And in Class 6 District 8, Park Hill is the 1 seed. They receive a bye this week, and they will host next week. They will host Park Hill South, who defeats Staley 13-12. Also next week will be Oak Park versus North Kansas City. That's your scoreboard for tonight here on Friday Night Live on the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. And we'll be right back after these messages.
I'll have the avocado toast minus the avocado.
So, toast.
Yeah. Everything is so expensive these days.
Hey, Chevy gets it. That's why they're keeping prices down to earth, like on the most affordable EV in America. A super strong and capable Chevy truck. And a high-tech Chevy SUV. Why is Chevy making affordable vehicles connected by OnStar? It's so together we can do more.
We believe banking should make your life greater. It starts with affordable options to meet today's needs and tomorrow's dreams. From smart account options that fit your style to flexible loans for what comes next. It means convenient ways to access and manage your money whenever you need it and wherever you're headed. Most of all, it takes great support. Someone you can count on for trusted guidance and to be there for you every step of the way. Great options, great convenience, great support for life. Great Southern Bank, understanding what really matters.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start?
Here, in the classroom.
On the stage.
In the pool.
On the field.
Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great.
Participate!
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Friday Night Live here on the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Hey, thanks for bearing with us tonight here. We had some technical difficulties here at the very beginning of the show, unable to get on and go live, but we appreciate you being diligent and hanging with us. Hey, and I know there's a lot of you watching live on Restream, whether it be on Twitter or X, if you prefer. Also, Facebook, YouTube. Hey, just drop us a note. Just go into the chat box. Drop us a note where you're listening from, what game you are at here this evening. We'll run through the scores one more time here as we're very, very quickly approaching 11 o'clock here in Missouri. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. On the high school football scoreboard, we'll start off in 8-man action tonight. In District 1, Lockwood gets a bye, and they will match up next week with Liberal, who defeats Jasper 60-38. Also next week will be Greenfield hosting New Heights. In District 2, Archie receives a bye as the 1 seed, and they will host Osceola, who defeated Rich Hill 30-14. Also next week, Appleton City will host Drexel. And in District 3, Concordia is the 1 seed, and Northwest the 2. They both receive byes. Concordia next week will host Sweet Springs, who defeated St. Paul Lutheran 46-23, and Northwest will host Slater, who shuts out Keatsville 86-0. In 8-man action in District 4, Bramer is the 1 seed, and Hardin Central is the 2 seed. They both receive byes. Bramer will host Santa Fe, who defeats Oric 30-20, and Hardin Central will host Wellington Napoleon, who defeats Southwest 82-6. In District 5, an 8-man action, and Bishop LeBlanc is the 1 seed, St. Joe Christian the 2. They both receive byes. Bishop LeBlanc will host DeKalb, who defeats Northland Christian 52-20, and St. Joe Christian will host Plattsburgh, who defeats Stewartsville 58-6. 8-man football District 8. I'm sorry, District 6. Rockport is the 1 seed, and West Nottoway the 2. They both receive byes tonight. Rockport will host Tarkio, who defeats Mound City 44-12, and West Nottoway will host North Andrew next week, who defeats South Holt 54-6. In an 8-man football, District 7, Albany is the 1 seed, and they receive a bye. Platte Valley is the 2 seed, and they receive a bye as well. Albany will host King City next week as they defeat Plattsburgh 88-48. Worth County shuts out Stanberry 60-0, and they will travel to Platte Valley next week. And in District 8, North Shelby's the 1 seed, and they will host Knox County next week as Knox County defeats Princeton 52-16. Also next week, Paris hosts Schuyler County. In Class 1, District 1, St. Vincent receives a bye, and in the only game in that district tonight will be Louisiana over Veritas Christian 46-3. So they will be at St. Vincent next week. Also next week, Hayti travels to Van Far. Malden will be at Crystal City, and Chaffee will be at Charleston. And in Class 1, District 2, Tipton is the 1 seed. They receive a bye. Westran is the 2 seed. They also receive a bye. So this week, it was the 8 seed Crestridge over Lynn 35-0. Salisbury will host Marceline next week. Colcamp will travel to Westran next week as Colcamp defeats Russellville 30-22. Also next week, Fayette will be at Harrisburg. Excuse me. And in Class 1, District 3, where Marionville's the 1 seed, they will host Miller next week as Miller defeats Kabul 61-0. Also next week will be Pierce City traveling to Windsor. Adrian's the 2 seed. They receive a bye, first round bye, and they will host Lincoln next week as Lincoln defeats Skyline 56-34. Also next week, Ashgrove will host Midway. And in Class 1 District 4, and there are only 4 districts in Class 1. So in Class 1 District 4, Penny receives a bye. They will host Maysville, who in overtime defeats Gallatin 27-20. Also next week will be Polo at West Platte, North Platte at Milan, and Scotland County will be at Putnam County. In District 2, in Class 2, District 1, Valley Catholic receives the bye. In the 4-5 matchup, it was Kelly defeating New Madrid County 36-12. Kelly will travel to Valley Catholic next week. The 2-7 matchup with Caruthersville over Portageville 40-7. And East Prairie defeats Scott City 49-29. So East Prairie will travel to Caruthersville, and Kelly will be at Valley Catholic next week for the semifinals. And in District 2, Herman is the 1 seed, and they receive a bye. St. Pius over Grandview 42-7. It was Bowling Green 52-12 over Montgomery County, and Jefferson defeats Priory 35-13. So next week, St. Pius X will be at Herman, and Bowling Green will host Jefferson. And in District 3, Lafayette County is the 1 seed. They receive a bye. South Callaway defeats North Callaway 42-32. It was Father Tolton over Lexington 56-8. And Centralia defeats Carrollton 44-6. So next week, South Callaway will be at Lafayette County in District 3. And Father Tolton will host Centralia. In Class 2, District 4, Fairgrove is the 1 seed, and they defeat Willow Springs 59-12. It was Thayer over Clever 37-7. Mountain View Liberty defeats Springfield Catholic 12-8. And Houston, in somewhat of an upset, over Ava 40-32. So next week in District 4, Fairgrove will host Thayer in the semifinals, and Mountain View Liberty will host Houston. In Class 2, District 5, Warsaw is the 1 seed. They receive a bye. Sarcoxy over El Dorado Springs 52-7. Lamar defeats Pleasant Hope 62-0. And Stockton over Diamond 43-28. So next week in the semifinals will be Sarcoxy at Warsaw, and Stockton will be at Lamar. Class 2, District 6, Pembroke Hill's the 1 seed. They receive a bye. Butler defeats Sherwood 42-6. Kip Casey Legacy, they defeat Hogan Prep 52-8. And Holden over Lone Jack 46-0. Next week in the semifinals will be Butler at Pembroke Hill. Holden will be at Kip Casey Legacy. Class 2, District 7, South Shelby is the 1 seed. Macon defeats Mark Twain 37-0. Monroe City over Highland 54-14. And Clark County over Palmyra 26-22. So in the semifinals, you'll have Macon at South Shelby, and Clark County will be at Monroe City. Class 2, District 8, Brookfield is the 1 seed receiving the bye. It was Lawson over South Harrison 36-18. Mid Buchanan shuts out Lathrop 58-0. That game from last night. East Buchanan over Trenton 40-18. So in the semifinals in Class 2 District 8 next week, Lawson will be at Brookfield, and East Buchanan will be at Mid Buchanan, a game just played a week ago in which Mid Buchanan defeated East Buchanan. And in Class 3 District action, Dexter is the 1 seed in District 1. Fredericktown over Potosi 23-21. Park Hill Central defeats Kennett 30-14. And St. Genevieve over Herculaneum 43-20. Next week in the semifinals in District 1 will be Fredericktown at Dexter, and St. Genevieve will be at Park Hill Central. Class 3 District 2, Borgia is the 1 seed. They receive a bye. Lutheran South will be at Live for Life, and Owensville will be at John Burroughs. Both of those games to be played tomorrow. The bottom of that bracket, St. Clair defeats Principia 56-20. And in Class 3, District 3, St. Charles West is the one seed, and they receive a bye. They await the winner of Hallsville and Winfield. Wright City over Duchesne, 42-0, and Moberly defeats Fulton, 59-20. Moberly will be at Wright City next week, and the winner of the Hallsville-Winfield game will be at St. Charles West. Class 3, District 4, Blair Oaks is the one seed. They receive a bye, and they await Southern Boone, who defeats California 34-21. Booneville over Versailles 54-14, and Knob-Noster defeats Eldon 33-31. So next week in the semis, you'll have Southern Boone at Blair Oaks, and Knob-Noster will be at Booneville. In Class 3, District 5, Stratford is the one seed, and they receive the bye. And they await the winner of St. James and Cuba. No final there yet. In the 2-7 matchup, it was Mount Vernon over Buffalo 62-7, and Mountain Grove defeats Salem 42-8. So Mountain Grove next week will be at Mount Vernon, and Stratford awaits the winner of the St. James Cuba game. Class 3, District 6, Seneca is the one seed, and they will host Aurora. Aurora defeats Reed Spring 51-14. It was Forsyth over Hollister 46-20, and East Newton defeats Cassville 39-8. So in the semifinals, Aurora will be at Seneca, and East Newton will be at Forsyth. Class 3, District 7, Summit Christian, they defeat University Academy 21-12, and they will travel to Odessa, the one seed, next week. At the bottom of that bracket, St. Michael defeats Central Kansas City 42-0, and Oak Grove over Clinton 30-0. So Oak Grove next week will travel to St. Michael, and Summit Christian will be at Odessa. Class 3, District 8, Richmond is the one seed, and they will host Cameron next week, who defeats Benton 48-12. It was Maryville over St. Joe Lafayette 48-13. Chillicothe defeats Northeast Kansas City 58-6. So Chillicothe will travel to Maryville, and Cameron will be at Richmond. Class 4, in District 1, Festus is the one seed. They receive the bye, and they will host North County, who defeats DeSoto 31-21. It was Perryville over Windsor 26-8, and Hillsboro defeats Sykeston 55-22. So Hillsboro will be at Perryville next week, and North County will be at Festus in the Class 4 District 1 semifinals next week. Class 4 District 2, Gateway is the one seed. They receive a bye. Union over Roosevelt 34-0. Sullivan defeats Afton 55-21, and Pacific over Bayless 56-6. In the semifinals next week in Class 5 District 2, or Class 4 District 2, my apologies, Union will be at Gateway, and Pacific will be at Bayless. Class 4 District 3, Luther North is the one seed. They receive a bye. They await the winner of Confluence Prep and Jennings. The bottom of that bracket, Soldan and Miller Career, those two games will both be played tomorrow, I believe. At the bottom, University City defeats Normandy 41-14 as they await that winner of the Soldan Miller Career Academy game. And in District 4, Parkway North is the one seed, and they will host next week Fort Zumwalt East, who defeats Clayton 60-14. It was Orchard Farm over Lutheran St. Charles 48-6, and they will host the winner of the St. Charles Westminster Christian Academy game that will be played tomorrow. And in District 5, Warrenton is the one seed, and they will host next week Osage in the semis as Osage defeats Fort Zumwalt South 50-16. It was Mexico, the 7 seed, over 2 seed Kirksville 21-14 in overtime, and they will travel to Hannibal as Hannibal defeats Holt 50-14. And in District 6, West Plains is the 1 seed, and they will host Logan Rogersville, the 4 seed, who defeated Marshfield 34-14. It was McDonald County outlasting Carl Junction I'm sorry, Carl Junction outlasting McDonald County 18-13. And they will host next week, Carl Junction will, Bolivar, who defeats Monette 48-24. Class 4 District 7, Pleasant Hill is the 1 seed. And they will host Harrisonville next week, who defeated Grandview 52-14. It was Warrensburg over Marshall 43-0. Nevada defeats Raytown South 42-12. So next week, Harrisonville will be at Pleasant Hill. Warrensburg will host Nevada. And in Class 4 District 8, Kearney's the 1 seed, and they will host Van Horn next week, who defeats Excelsior Springs 31-24. My apologies there. I was kind of had a little cough come sneak up on me. And in Class 5, District 1, Cardinal Ritter is the 1 seed, thus receiving the bye. Next week, they will host St. Mary's, who defeated Melville tonight 38-7. Cape Central over Webster Groves 42-7, still awaiting a final between Poplar Bluff and Farmington. And in Class 5 District 2, Eureka's the 1 seed, and they will host Washington next week, who defeats Parkway West 35-25. It was Lafayette over Parkway Central 45-7, and don't have a final yet from Parkway South and Rockwood Summit. In Class 5 District 3, Hazelwood East is the 1 seed, and they await the winner of Ladue and Riverview Gardens. That game will be played tomorrow. The bottom of that bracket, MICDS shuts out McClure 49-0, and Chaminade shuts out McClure North 32-0. So next week, Chaminade will be at MICDS, and Hazelwood East will host either Ladue or Riverview Gardens. In District 4, Fort Zumwalt North, they receive a bye as the 1 seed, and they will host Fort Zumwalt West, who defeated Battle tonight 40-19. It was Liberty over Francis Howe North, Liberty Wentzville over Francis Howe North 49-7, and still awaiting a final from Timberland and North Point. Class 5 District 5, which Elias is the 1 seed, they receive a bye, and they will host Camdenton next week, who defeated Rolla 49-20. Still awaiting a final from Smith Cotton in Capital City. At the bottom was Lebanon over Jeff City 49-7. And they will either host Smith Cotton or be at Capital City. Camdenton will travel to Elias next week in the semifinals. And in Class 5 District 6, Branson is the 1 seed. They get the bye. They will host Glendale next week, who defeats Willard 52-23. It was Republic over Springfield Central 60-7. And Hillcrest outlast Parkview 19-18. So Hillcrest will travel to Republic, and Glendale will be at Branson next week in the District 6 semifinals. In District 7, Carthage is the 1 seed. They receive a bye. It was Neosho over Raytown 42-6. Green Valley over Ruskin 49-7. And Webb City defeats Belton 42-6. So next week, the Neosho will travel to Carthage, and Webb City will be at Green Valley. Class 5 District 8, Platte County is the 1 seed, and they receive a bye. And they will play next week in the semis, St. Joe Central, who defeats Winnetonka 35-27. The bottom of that bracket, St. Pius X over William Chrisman 69-14, and Fort Osage over Lincoln Prep 49-14. Lincoln Prep will be at St. Pius X. St. Joe Central travels to Platte County in the semifinals next week. In Class 6, in District 1, Seckman receives a bye. They will host Oakville next week, who defeated Northwest 28-7. Jackson is the 2 seed. They also receive a bye, and next week they will host Lindbergh, who defeats Fox 35-0. District 2, CBC is the 1 seed, and they will get the winner of Marquette and Vianney, and Marquette defeats Vianney 23-20. So Marquette next week will travel to CBC. Also next week will be Kirkwood hosting Francis South Central in the 2-3 matchup. And in District 3, DeSmet, they receive a bye. Pattonville defeats Hazelwood West 56-18, and they will travel to DeSmet next week. Rittenhour is the 2 seed. They also receive a bye, and they will host SLU, who defeated Hazelwood Central tonight 35-0. In District 4, Troy Buchanan is the 1 seed, and they await the winner of Francis South Central and Hickman. Also next week will be St. Dominic versus Columbia Rockbridge. Class 6 District 5, Nixa is the 1 seed, and they will get a rematch with Ozark next week, who defeats Waynesville 31-7. Also next week, Kickapoo will be at Joplin. Class 6 District 6, Lee Summit North, they receive the bye, and they will host Ray-Peck next week as Ray-Peck defeats Lee Summit West 27-26. Also next week will be Rockhurst at Lee Summit. And in Class 6 District 7, Blue Springs South receives a bye. They will host Blue Springs next week, who defeats Truman 55-0. Also next week in that district will be Liberty hosting Liberty North. And in Class 6 District 8, Park Hill, the 1 seed, receives a bye, and they will host Park Hill South, who defeated Stately 13-12. Also next week will be North Kansas City at Oak Park. Again, we appreciate everybody listening. Thank you so much for being part of the Missouri Sports Network. And again, I invite you, hey, go to our Facebook page and give us a like, and that way you'll know everything that comes out, when it's coming out, and how to listen. Or go to our YouTube page and subscribe, and there are probably more than 1,000 episodes on YouTube, whether it be our at Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athletes of the Week, whether it be our Lion and Laborers Local 663 Team of the Week, whether it be Where Are They Now Wednesdays coming out every Wednesday morning with Kent Mueller from Playing on Sports, or it's On Deck with D-Row and Coach Archer, or Huddle Up on Thursday mornings with myself, Coach Archer, and Johnny Mack. And hey, as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us, take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart,